But
That's an
I was
after-hour
in
show.
Yes.
I was in Beverly Hills. Now Chippendales was big back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
This story.
I worked there.
Stop it. Sexy chocolate.
Was that you or Annette? Anyway.
I can't with
Oh,
you guys.
God.
I think that was Chip and Chicks.
It's a brand new day. Wake up every morning and say, it's a brand new day.
How does it feel?
And not a
You
raisin.
know what? This is
Soothing?
okay. It's like being scratched, but I'm purring like a kitty right now. Just
But you know what? If
I like,
that,
okay, specifically a Black Panther, for being honest. With you. There we go.
but you know what? If that had a shaver on it, man, you could be like multitasking.
I could.
You know what?
think
I
we
really
should
could. No,
trademark
definitely.
this.
Okay, guys. So here on Never Met a Stranger.
Since we haven't met a stranger.
Okay. All right. Wait, I'm clapping.
Yeah.
All righty. It's intense. All right. Well, good morning. You know, it really is a good morning. You know, I've missed you guys. It's
know.
you know,
It's
it's
been
been some
a while.
time, right? It's been some time. Has a lot of things happening.
All right.
You know, but here we are. Never met a stranger. You know, we spreading the good love, the good love, the good news.
The good news. The good
The
news.
good news,
Good
positivity out
news
here.
in a bad news world.
Agreed,
Let's do
agreed,
it.
agreed. And
Speaking
you know,
of that.
Well, no, yeah, you know, but we should say who we are.
do we have to?
No.
They don't
Okay.
know us?
There we
It's
go.
our show. We can do whatever
There we
we
go.
want.
Well, anyway, we can do whatever we want. But you know, I'm Israel. Thank you for being here. You know, I got to tell you guys.
Wait,
something.
is that the Israel's hand sign?
Did you see that he just went to Israel and then didn't let us?
Right.
didn't.
And then
didn't.
just let's
Well,
move
because
on.
I figured you guys were going to introduce yourself. I didn't want to, you know, as a man, I don't want to speak for women.
Ooh!
You know, that's what you learn to do really, really quickly.
It's a
Especially in
nice
marriage.
rebound. I don't buy it, but it's good. That's because Israel's very smart, so he can think as per the moment.
Me. I didn't want to do that. That's
Listen.
a little vicious.
If people are taking notes, they are now.
Yeah. And I guess who are you?
Yeah.
Would you like to take notes that I am Callie?
There we go. Hey.
Oh, that was so
I
feminine,
know.
dainty.
See?
I'm not like
Yeah.
that.
You're the in-between. Let's
My
go.
name's Linnell.
Oh, goodness. All right.
You know what, Linnell. But you know what? Here's the deal. Israel. I just found out I've been pronouncing Israel's name incorrectly.
Yes, we did it. We talked about that one.
Right.
We talked
Well,
about
how
it.
many times have people mispronounced your name?
Oh, many. You know what? We were talking about this, how important it is to name your kid something
Oh,
that
please don't.
is going to see them
Please
through life.
Please don't get me
Talking
started.
about it.
Yes, because like it's terrible.
First day of
sometimes.
school, my whole entire life, I would get a new teacher who would say, Lionel, and then the kids would call me Lionel Training
Oh,
Pants.
God.
No.
I mean, you know.
I mean, it's not funny.
So
It is
like
funny.
the only issue with my name that I had is obviously Israel, right? It's the
Yes.
country, and that's fine. But my last name, they always add an S to it because you know Family Matters. You know, you had the Winslow family,
Yes.
so they'd always say
Dang, we gotta lump you.
that Kinslow. I was like, no,
Winslow.
it's
Yeah.
that's not my name.
Yeah.
And I'd have explained it to him like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm like, it's fine.
We were just talking about how I kind of did Callie, and I wanted to name Callie, but the shortest version so that people could not shorten it up, so that
Yeah.
they would have to call her by her
Still,
name.
I have
But
nicknames.
so I spelled it Calli, thinking,
Yeah.
ding. However, if you look at it phonetically, it's Collie.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, which is I'm doing her no
So
favors
many.
there.
Did you ever get any Kayleys?
Yes.
Really?
Kelly all the time.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh my
Kelly,
God.
yeah.
Mhm.
Except that I'm the one that's called her Cal.
I know. Or Cal's, I get
Cal.
with an S on there.
Yeah.
I get that one a lot.
Or California. Oh.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
If
All
you
right.
don't know by now, we're based in California.
There we
All
go.
right.
Yeah.
So good news.
Good
I have
news.
a good news story.
All right, let's roll
and
with it.
and I super dig this because Israel, what do we say about strangers?
There are no strangers, just friends we haven't met yet.
That's right.
We're so
And-
happy to meet you.
Yes.
You know, I really love that because you know, it's strangers who do wonderful, amazing things that you just wouldn't expect somebody who's not invested
Mm-hmm.
emotionally or personally, right?
Mhm.
You wouldn't expect them to go that extra mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it a great story. Boom! Good news in a bad news world. So this comes on as a result of the Hurricane Helene,
Mhm.
which you know actually really devastated 6 states. But the Carolinas. It really affected the Carolinas. But so there's a lady there that her friend's home was completely destroyed, and they were just searching through to find anything that they could, searching through the mud, etc. And they found photos, not of her friend's family,
Okay.
but of many families that had been carried, from the home,
Okay.
and so she got all of the photos out, put them on, the bank to dry, and then she was really bothered about that because photos are personal.
Very,
Mhm.
very, very personal.
They're
Tell a
keepsakes,
story.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she went back and gathered them all up, and then she went on a mission to find photos and reunite them with the families.
I love that.
So she started a page on social media and posted all the photos, which in itself it's touching because it's photos of Christmas or baseball games or and then people contact her and she gets the photos to them, right? And I like what she says, because again, a stranger to many families, right?
Yeah, and it's not like today where you just have your phone, you can make
Oh my
multiple
God,
copies, but back in the day,
Right. So she says, when she meets up with the families who live close and she's able to give them the photos in person and their reaction, she says it's a reminder, being able to have a moment when you hand someone something so special and give them a hug because they've most likely lost everything that they have, she says, but being a stranger and helping strangers is a privilege that I will not take lightly.
Oh,
Is that awesome?
it is all about
I like
how you
that
look at it too.
So big,
Yes.
clapping. Good for you. I love good news stories. I like to do
A.
For all my Canadians out
or the
there.
funny ones, and two.
And two.
I like
I missed
that
that one. That one's in my head. What's that one?
because the next thing would be B.
Yes.
Oh, God.
I don't think you
kick
should
in, it did
admit
now.
these things when they happen to you.
Listen,
We rolled it. We rolled it.
this is how you have to be authentic. I don't understand. It went over my head.
Yeah. I love it that, it's a stranger helping, strangers and really impacting their, like making a difference. And two.
I mean, I do know a few good people in this world. Do you?
I know several, actually, and it's really, really funny because I feel like I'm friends with all the good people in the world.
Oh.
Yes and no. Okay. What I mean by this is this. I think that my people are the best. You guys included.
Well,
Javi,
thanks.
Dustin, you guys included. Just because it's so.
Dustin, Javi.
Yeah, by the way, there's a lot of work that goes into this podcast stuff. So we do want to shout out to our
to our crew.
Shout out.
The guys who make the magic happen.
We are here, but they're
Oh my God, they work beyond.
Editing.
For sure.
Yes.
And
The only thing we ever give them is a donut.
No.
Dustin, are you eating one?
and love and energy drinks and
It's
kudos.
But in my world, a donut's better than love.
Yeah, okay. A donut is love. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
But at some point we're gonna get you guys on the camera, so I hope you guys are prepared for that for sure.
Yes, very well.
Yeah, he's shaking his head, but
No, come on, man.
Oh, and you're so handsome,
large,
Javi.
strong man.
Why are you so adverse to the camera?
turning red.
Yeah, I think that Javi and Dust in the Wind are as
Dustin.
Yeah.
But I call Dustin Dust in the Wind.
Yes.
He never thought it would stick. I know. Every
It
time.
will.
I love every time I hear
It's going
it.
to stick at this point.
So, but there's no way that this podcast would happen without
For sure
these
not.
guys. So,
For sure not. So yeah, when you say if I know any good people, I know all the good people. And I feel like in theme with this show, right? And what we do, you kind of know good people out in the world. You'll bump into them and you'll have like this instant kind of like connection. Like I respect everything you represent, and conversation is easy. You're like, okay, yeah.
You know what though?
you have, what were you telling me?
Well, our sponsors. So,
as you see,
yes, our sponsor is Nurture Coffee and Eats in Bass Lake, California.
Okay.
I love Bass
But
Lake.
the reason why I really love them is because, yes, they opened a coffee shop, but their background story, man. So they opened a nonprofit to help people who are struggling with infertility because they also went through it themselves, right?
Oh, I
But
love that.
in the foundation, they give out 4 grants a year to
I love
help
that.
with the infertility treatments.
All right.
Like
That's
little people
amazing.
like
and
that.
people don't realize like
Oh, it's called In the Waiting, by the way.
Okay.
So if you want to find them.
okay, in the way, but still like you guys. like infertility treatments, they're not exactly cheap. I don't think you
I
guys
know.
know like how much those things
They're
cost.
super expensive.
Yeah, like they're like $25,000 plus, depending on how many rounds of treatment you got to end up
Does
going
insurance cover that?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No, that's considered elective.
There are
elective.
people who I
Elective to
know
have a child
Yes,
when
it
they
is.
have a
That
child?
It is.
they've taken a second on their home. They've borrowed
Yes,
money. They
Yep.
and the really I don't know because I had 2 kids, Callie and my son Jordan. Shout out to Jordan. But having kids is life changing.
Oh, for sure.
And so there's not a monetary value that you can, put on, except that when you run out of money and you still have not successfully become pregnant, heartbreaking.
Oh, I can only imagine. Many friends.
You get down to the last, you guys were down to the last. Yeah.
So my daughter is our last. So
and she's a miracle.
and she's
And she
I
really
love her,
is.
too.
oh, she's perfect.
Now
It was
this
probably worth
perfect.
every cent.
this child is going to change the world. So it was really money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we love you. Thank you, Nurture. By the way, P.S. If you want to sponsor our show, there's an email or a number or something
someplace, and,
that you can reach out. Now, I was a radio DJ for 35 years. I did morning shows and afternoons, but I was also the director of sales. So I can catch a good deal. I can help your business grow.
Listen.
All right. So reach out. We would love the support. Now, we're not really all about this show for the money. The money. There's this money song. What I'm trying to
There's
figure.
a lot of money.
Money.
No. Yeah, that one. Oh,
What's
no,
that? What's the other one? You got money on my mind and my mind on my money.
Oh my God.
I just got Chris Rock flashback.
Yes,
from
for sure.
Down to Earth. Yes.
Yeah, down to earth.
Yes.
Right? But we are trying to change the world. One podcast show at a time, and do here's the thing: you get to a point in your life where you realize that you need to do something bigger. You need to reach out at a more global level to try to help people or affect them in even a small way, right? Because a small
Starts with you,
affectation.
Ooh.
Hey,
Can't play
and that's
words with
only
friends
with
with these guys.
one half a cup of Nurture coffee. So one small affectation is huge. It can be huge. It can lead to the domino effect of them then changing other people's lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Ripples.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ripples.
So, but I super dig the foundation. I super dig the Strangers Helping Strangers. But let's talk some coffee.
Oh no.
I love coffee, Israel.
No.
She's a coffee lover.
I get it. But coffee, it's so like my wife.
You don't drink coffee.
Okay. I do. Okay, let's. I
What?
do drink a coffee. I do.
We can't.
Wait, let me do it again.
It's fine. I'll accept that. My wife is a coffee drinker, and what I mean by that is that she has an IV essentially that's hooked up, and she likes espresso, like the bitterest of coffees.
She has a whole.
I know. I got her espresso machine for Mother's Day last year.
Listen, espresso is a weird dynamic. I was in Italy
Okay.
and I went up to order coffee. Now, I am no stranger to coffee. I love coffee from back when I was a 22-year-old DJ and coffee was free.
You know.
I never drank coffee before that, but then I drink coffee all the time because free is for me.
Okay.
There's coffee on 3 floors. So,
Bread and coffee.
so I
Those are
went
usually
up
free.
to the counter to order coffee in Italy, and they don't give you a whole cup of coffee. They give you an espresso. So
Like a shot?
this
Oh my
it's so
God.
small. The guy behind the counter put cup, pour, and all these people came out of nowhere up to the counter, drank their coffee,
their cafe, the little tiny thing.
and they drink it, and then they
Coffee to
split.
go. Huh.
And I'm like, do you have like 3 of those that you can?
Well, did you have 3 espresso shots?
I did not.
I'm about to say, wait
yeah.
a minute now. That's
Can you
that.
imagine?
Nobody wants to see me with 3 espresso
Ooh,
shots.
I mean, that's a lot.
I
And that,
tried wine in Italy, but I never tried their coffee.
I just wanted to have a bigger cup of coffee that I could leisurely enjoy.
okay,
Yeah.
so you wanted to pour
You
some
know.
milk in it. You
No,
wanted to
I drink
froth
black
it.
coffee.
I was just well, it's because coffee is not espresso. Espresso is like that's like
I know.
potent,
I
like concentrated tar.
I need a
is
little
what it
fluff
feels
in
like to
there.
me.
I stayed at a really nice hotel in Santa Monica, and
What was the
went
name?
into
Name
the
drop.
Huh?
What was the name? Name drop.
the Huntley. It was I
Okay.
love them there. Every
Okay.
time I go, they upgrade me to the top floors. I walk through the door and they go, "You're back." Talk
She's
about
not
meeting a
lying.
stranger.
Everywhere
Yeah.
she goes.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't doubt
how
it.
do you know them?
I don't doubt it.
But when I walked in the room, they didn't have a coffee maker. They had an espresso maker,
Mhm.
which I didn't love.
They're not exactly easy to make. You
Yeah.
gotta pack them well. You gotta make sure
Well,
it's
no,
ground
no.
well enough. You gotta-
You
They had the
choose this.
espresso already, like a Keurig. They had it already, and you just put. What I'm saying is, I don't like the taste of espresso. It's too.
Bitter.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's okay because we're doing like an espresso machine. We have like grind it, put it up there.
Oh, yeah.
do the whole. Do
That's
your pour.
dedication.
Yes.
It, like you get like a shot of it. You know, it's like that's just so much. It's
Did
so
she ever
much.
mix it with like alcohol or anything?
God no.
No.
No. At the most you get okay.
You
she'll-
know, like,
I
because
know.
you can get them.
But she'll
like
do
that.
her like her espresso, and then she'll like at the holiday seasons, they pass. But she'd like to do like eggnog in
Oh,
there,
yes.
just to get the flavor, and
Perfect.
that's how it is. But
Mhm.
as a whole, like I just it's just
And I'm looking at my phone because I have a good story, and thinking, and the coffee part of this actually made me, remember the story. It's called the Purple Balloon Story, but it does have a coffee element. So typically, I just tell the story, but I was going to read some of it because in writing that story, there was a lot of kind of entertaining parts.
Yes.
So I don't know. I can't find it, but I have tons of stories on my phone, so I should have been better prepared. But it just came up, and I said, "Coffee. This is a perfect time to tell the Purple Balloon Story."
Yes.
So when I got into the car accident, by the way, I was hit by someone in a big truck. I was stopped at a stoplight, and they hit me going pretty fast. And so as a result of that, I've had a lot of surgeries and things, and losing the use of my hands, a lot of that. But before that, I would travel to all the different markets. There's 12 markets. I love to travel. So that's how I met a lot of the people and started writing the book, because I would just meet people in airports or any place that I was going in my travels and ask them things like, what's the meaning of happiness? Or, what's the most important thing in life? And, just I loved every bit of it because it makes you feel smaller in the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that doesn't sound positive,
No, it does. Yeah.
If you're the biggest thing in your world, then you're living your life wrong, is what I believe. Because the world is big and there are a lot of people in the world. And it's not just about me or you or our little world.
I would like, in the spirit of positivity, like, let's just say, like, you don't want to feel little in the world. You want to broaden your perspective, because the more you see that's out there, right? Like,
Right.
It's not about
That's
feeling
exactly
small.
right.
It's not about
Israel.
feeling small. It's about seeing more. When you see more,
Yeah.
you recognize that we are all just.
I should rephrase that. That's a good
Yeah.
point. I'm
I
not
agree with
saying
that.
that anyone should feel small
No.
either, because
No, yeah.
you definitely want to have self-confidence, which I lack. But what I found out, or what I realized, maybe just for me internally, was that I am, I'm the Earth in the solar system. You know what I mean? We think
Yes.
the Earth is huge, but
Oh,
if you
God, it's
look at
tiny.
the galaxy,
Yeah.
you'll realize that, and it's humbling.
Yeah.
Humbling in a good way, right? Because there are just awesome people and everyone has a story. But
Lots of-
there are some stories in the book, like the Purple Balloon Story, that did not involve strangers. It was just a lesson. One of our markets was in, or still is, in Salinas. And I love to go to Salinas because, I love the ocean. And, I actually like to drive because if you go down this one road, it's like you can Mario Andretti a little bit. And I love to drive.
Mario Kart.
Back then,
Yeah,
I don't,
Mario Kart. There we
I
go.
don't get to drive now. But anyway, so I had a long day in Salinas and I was coming home and I said, I should turn off and get some coffee. I should go find me a Starbucks. I
Or
should
a
shout out to
Nurture.
Starbucks, who
Coffee
could be a
Needs.
really good sponsor of this show. Anyway, so I left the road and I went down this and I saw a Starbucks But the road did not take me that direction. It took me the other direction. And so I'm like, really? This is, man,
Yeah.
because I was all ready for that coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start realizing, well, I might be in the weeds a little bit here because it was mountainous and
You didn't know where you
I
were.
didn't know where I
Yeah.
was. So I switched on the OnStar and I had the OnStar in an Australian accent, which I liked, but I couldn't really understand. Yeah. Yeah. And so I had to switch it back to English for this journey. But so I switched it on and she's like, make a U-turn. And I'm like, well, it's a one-way road and there's traffic, huh? And I talked to the OnStar.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I supposed to make a U-turn? And so as I'm driving, still completely in the wrong direction, she's like, make a U-turn. And I kid you not, it felt like she was getting irritated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make a U-turn. And I'm like, really? Where should I make one?
Arguing back.
Do
with
you
it.
see a place?
So this is before Alexas and Googles and Siris, right?
Yes.
So OnStar, for those who don't know, that's
OnStar.
like OnStar you didn't have a talk back to you function.
You
So-
had
No talk back.
Navigation
Only in
system.
my head. Anyway, so I lose the signal because now in
you're
deep
out.
mountain,
You're out.
I lose the signal. So I say, no, that's not what happened. So I'm going and I become so irritated with the OnStar lady that I hit
Turn
the
off.
button.
Yep.
I say, stop talking, boom. And then I can't get her back because I am too mountainous. And I'm like, ooh.
I should have made
That
a
was
U-turn.
one of those things where it happens to me quite frequently. I've not thought this through.
Okay.
But I said, how hard could it be? I think she mentioned I need to make a U-turn. So I just keep going, try to find a U-turn. Anyway, long story, a little bit longer because this is not even the point of the story. I am now an hour and a half
Of course.
off course.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Just drove in the same direction. Hour and a half.
I did not drive in the same direction an hour and a half. I drove in the same direction probably 45 minutes and then tried to make some turns
Oh, to
and
U-turn.
get back
Okay.
to a signal.
Okay.
Yeah. I never made a U-turn because I'm just rebellious that way.
You did.
Did you ever at
Wait a
some
minute.
point say, I
Wait a
should
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
I
minute.
said, screw you,
Wait a
OnStar.
minute. Wait a minute.
I will not make
Wait
a
minute.
U-turn.
They told you to take the U-turn. You got mad.
I might end up in damn
You
Canada,
argued
but I'm
with
not
it.
making a U-turn. Anyway, so here's
Okay.
the point.
I don't get it.
I'm so mad. Plus, I didn't get coffee, and so I get back on the road finally,
Okay.
and I'm just mad. I'm just irritated. And then what happens? Traffic stops,
Mhm.
and I say, "You have got to be kidding me!" I wish the OnStar lady was just there so I could yell at her. But no, they refused to come back on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said, "You've got to be kidding me." And it was the pass.
Mhm.
I was just stuck. I was nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm there,
Twiddling your
irritated.
fingers. Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a purple balloon appears in the sky.
Interesting.
And I say, well, look at that. Something you don't see every day,
Mhm.
especially on the pass, a purple balloon. And that little joyful purple balloon, it just danced around. It danced and it sailed. And then, I don't know, for whatever reason, it started bouncing on the cars. And I was like, please bounce on my car. I could see it coming,
Mhm.
and it bounced. And so I looked behind me and there was a construction type of guy who looked pretty irritable. I mean, I know I was too.
Mhm.
He looked kind of mad though. And so the purple balloon bounced on my car and it just went up and that gave me one more bounce. And I don't know. I found a lot of joy in it, but I wondered what the guy behind me was going to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so it went sailing over my car and barely touched his mirror
Mhm.
and he smiled,
Oh.
And so I was like, man. So I started thinking, what the heck? So traffic starts rolling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as it's rolling, I see a big semi with a car stuck in it.
Oh.
And that's the
What?
reason traffic had stopped. And immediately occurred to me that had I not been on my coffee mishap,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it could have been.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started crying.
Mhm.
And thanking God and, this and that. And, pulled over a little bit because I had a day, but also because I just, it was so tragic. Anyway, so as I'm driving, I am thinking about all these things, and I think, I hope that purple balloon didn't come from that car.
Oh.
I hope that purple balloon was not from that car.
Yeah.
And so then I pulled over and I cried again. And as I'm going, I'm thinking, you know what? I need to pull over and compose myself. So there's a Starbucks in Los Banos. I'm going to pull over there. And I pulled over in the parking lot, and I thought about the happy little purple balloon, and I thought about my OnStar coffee journey mishap, and I realized that, you know what, I was exactly where I needed to be. That that stopped me from something else.
Yeah.
And so I was going to bring it up to you guys. But let me tell you the end of the story. So as I walked into the Starbucks,
Oh gosh.
finally to get my coffee, there was let's see, what's a gothy looking girl behind the counter.
Okay.
Like shaved on one side and
Ooh,
really
okay.
long on the other,
Okay.
jet black.
Listen, if you
Very
can pull
edgy.
that off.
Very
Edgy,
edgy.
yeah.
That's a good
Edgy,
one.
big
Yes.
long eyelashes with a couple piercings. I found her unique, but
Let's do
as
it.
I walked up, I said, blah, 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 have my black coffee. When you order black coffee in the Starbucks, they give you a certain look.
Yes.
I mean, because they want to show their talents. I'm a barista.
Yes.
And you're having to make the simplest thing that I could actually
I
make
just
for
have
you.
to pour
So
that.
she looked fairly annoyed with me, and I visualized her as the OnStar lady immediately.
Do I make you turn here
Right.
now?
So she says, I said, how's your day? Because I always ask people.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And she said, fine. And then she looks at me with her,
Like, why you
she
asking?
narrows her eyes.
Uh-huh.
And
Like,
she
what do you want?
says,
Mm-hmm.
how was your day?
Oh.
And I said, I saw a purple balloon.
Oh.
And she leans forward and she says, good for you.
No.
I mean, full on, you crazy ass
Uh-huh.
woman, get
Yes.
your coffee and get out of
Yeah.
the shop. And without hesitation, I said, yes, it was good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And took my coffee and left. And I always like to, my stories always go full circle like a Seinfeld episode, but the point in all of this, and the reason that I loved the purple balloon story, and others, people who read it in the Fresno Bee loved it too, is because you feel frustrated in life sometimes, and you feel like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Oh,
Yes.
But if you slow your roll and you realize this is happening to me because there's a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to this.
You're right where you need to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? God put me here
Mm-hmm.
and gave me I wonder why it had to be such a frustrating detour. But
Well, I mean, you did not take the U-turn.
Israel, do you want to be the OnStar woman in my life? Because you will be.
No,
woman in my
I mean,
life.
sure, I'd be a very hideous woman.
I
What would
think
your accent be? Do it.
No, definitely
Come on.
not.
No
Come
way.
on, come
No,
on.
I'm not doing it.
Come on.
No, definitely not.
Would you
I
be
haven't-
ratchet?
No.
Oh my
British
gosh.
England?
If
Would
anything,
you
I'm
be
like
Brit-
British and snooty.
British
Do
and
it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to
snooty.
be
Wait,
British and-
wait.
No, I'm not
No,
doing it.
listen.
I'm not doing it. I'm not
Drinking
doing
coffee?
it.
We're
no,
saying-
no, I'm not. This
Wait,
isn't happening.
Wait, we're not
On
saying.
the spot.
Hold on. We are not saying this is the disclaimer that all British people are snooty.
Listen.
That is not what we're saying.
No.
Okay, now do it.
I don't even have like a British accent in my bag. Like,
Come on.
No,
Well, just
Okay.
do it.
no. Why
Listen,
am I being
you
the one being
have-
put in the spot right here? Like, how does this happen?
You have
How am I?
a-
I feel
I
attacked.
just told a 45-minute story. Now you just do that accent.
Talk how you would be if you were female, because that voice is funny.
No, I don't. Which one? What is it?
Who was the story we were talking about with Rebecca?
Annette.
Annette, yes.
No, Annette.
Annette, your alter ego?
No.
Is there a little bit more to Israel that I do not know?
So okay, detour. Just not. We're not. We'll flip a U-turn. I promise.
No, we will not. We will not. And you will not make me.
Oh
So,
my, okay.
you-
Good
you-
for you.
yeah, you're right,
Good for you.
So like you were at our house and we were just talking about. I don't even know what we were talking about. But I have a tendency to just go off on tangents.
Tangents?
I do. I have a tendency to go off on tangents.
Yes, like
and
now.
create characters that don't exist in the world
Yes.
at all. And I'll roll with it. So there was a woman named Annette that I ended up bringing up because what were we talking about? Was it
You want your wife to fight for you always.
always? I do, for sure. I expect that.
You wanted to fight women named Annette?
Yeah.
No, my wife, bless her heart, she's not a fighter. But she will fight for me. I know she has enough crazy in her, and so I know she'd fight for me, my daughter, and oddly enough, Callie. 100%. So you guys went out to a concert one time, and that's the only time my wife was actively ready to
maybe one of two fights.
To break a foot off in somebody. Yeah. Yeah, it was hilarious. I'm like, babe, but you can't fight. She's like, so.
You know what?
And I'm listening to Cardi B because that's the concert we went to, and you hear Rebecca in the background just ready to go down. And I'm like, what do I do here?
I'm like, oh no,
I can't look away.
I think the music was rubbing off
why
my
was
wife.
somebody picking a fight with you?
She thought that I was standing in her spot. I was not standing in her spot.
Oh, and so
but
Rebecca
she was
fired
also
up.
Intoxicated.
Yeah, well,
so, not Rebecca, but the other
fault
girl.
was that?
Now listen,
I mean,
I was a fighter back in the day, but I fought for justice.
Okay.
I was a justice fighter.
Okay.
I was a Justice League.
Always.
Now, yeah. One time I got into a fight with a girl who, her boyfriend was a comedian on stage, and he was trying to do his act, and she was making out with a complete stranger to mess with them.
Never met a stranger. Remember?
Well, it's kind of a different show for a different time. But so I said, chick, I think the exact word, chick.
Yes.
You know,
Okay. Very respectful.
You know, let him do his thing. You know, and then the famous last words is always, "Who's gonna make me?" And then I had learned back. So this is my 20s. I'm not like that anymore. Because I can't even make a fist. Anyway, but then I would start cleaning out my pockets because you learn. Because you learn. If you've been in a couple of fights, you learn that you lose everything. It goes everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so you clean out your pockets and you give it to.
I think that Javi would have a story on getting
story.
pockets, helping people with their pockets. We might talk about that later.
But I was in Beverly Hills. Now, Chippendales was big back in the day.
Okay.
This story.
I worked there.
Stop it. Sexy chocolate.
Was it you or Annette?
I can't with you guys.
I think that was Chip and Chicks.
I'm just going to sip my nurture coffee and eat.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was in Beverly Hills to do the Jane Fonda workout because now I'm super dating myself, but listen, with all of these wrinkles, there's a lot of history and a lot of good stories.
Okay.
The roadmap of my life. So, OnStar, this one. Anyway.
I think OnStar is actually behind here because you had to make a U-turn to get there.
Say the word U-turn one more time. I dare you. I'll clean out my pocket.
Do you want me to say wide angle lens?
Yeah, that's a bad one.
That's a bad one.
So I was there to do Jane Fonda's workout, right?
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda's workout was big. You know what I'm saying? And I was an aerobics instructor.
Wait, 70s, 80s?
Of course, I was not 70s because I would have been 10. You know, so it was 80s. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just thinking of the style.
I'm trying to think
of
leg warmers.
So we had flash dance off the shoulder, sweatshirt, Reeboks, high. What are they? High
tops.
High top Reeboks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was an aerobics instructor. So I taught aerobics at night after my regular job. And then I did 2 advanced classes on Saturdays. I was in good shape. I had less than 12% body fat. Woo. Super hot, too.
That's
oh, my God. Where did the days go? Anyway, I drove a Jeep. It had too much fun on the license plate. Anyway, I digress.
Okay.
I'm a digressor.
We've already made a detour, and then we were going to be coming back home.
Now
we're meandering.
Okay, listen. So this is a good story.
No, we're not.
It's a good story. So we were there to do Jane Fonda's workout, but we went the day early to stay the night and go see Chippendales in Beverly Hills.
This story.
Now, listen, it was a long, long line. Okay, that we had to wait in, and it was a 2-drink minimum.
What?
Okay.
And the drinks were expensive.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
They always are.
But we went there early so we could get right in the front, you know. And because if you get right in the front at Chippendales, you know what? You're going to get kissed or,
other things.
fondled.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were Huh? I don't know if fondle's right, but I just like to say it. Anyway, so we got in there, and we were right in the front, right? Now, there was Valley Girl, for lack of a better term. Now, she had some big hair.
Valley Girl.
Yeah, she had some big
Did you
old...
have an accent? Like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Becky lick it.
Ratted up blonde hair, way too much makeup, big, huge high heels.
Oh,
Yes,
God,
yes.
And she was just walking over me, like back and forth. And so the girls who I'm with were also aerobics instructors, and they're like, just let it go, because, I had a little bit of a reputation.
Fiery side.
So I said, yeah, I'm not going to do anything, Anyway, show's getting ready to start, and what does the damn Valley Girl do? She walks in front of me and stands right in front of me. So I say, you're going to have to move. I think I said you're going to have to move your stupid ass. But I don't know.
We don't know. That's for...
I digress.
Memories are vague. Memories are vague.
Yeah.
So she said, I was here. And I said, no, you were here and you were there and you were here. But you weren't here and you're not going to stay here. And she said, oh, who's going to make me?
Oh, God.
And then the circle spreads. All of my aerobics
The
friends.
circle spreads?
Yeah, the circle
Like,
because
it's like,
they
oh,
knew.
man,
They were
what's going
calling.
on? Oh, you did it.
Oh,
You did it.
The hype man in the back.
My aerobics friends, I start cleaning my pockets out, and this girl's looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, I'm stupid. And I hand them everything, and I hit her as hard as I can hit her. And she goes down. She goes downtown, Charlie Brown, but she's scrappy.
Okay.
So she grabs me and she's yanking my hair out, and she's we're rolling, and Chippendale shows stopped, and the guys are looking, and
they're probably throwing money at you guys, right?
Oh, I mean we're full on brawl, right?
Did we
And
miss the show?
I'm so mad at this girl that I reach down and I take her high heel shoe off and I hit her right between the eyes with her high heel. Yeah,
like with the actual
like
heel
I could have
part?
killed her.
Jeez.
But if you're rolling around, your impact is not as great. Anyway, cops get called. I get hauled off to Beverly Hills jail.
Oh.
Eddie Murphy wasn't there.
I'm about to say.
Dang it.
Yeah. And it was no nicer than any other jail.
I was going to ask, was
Yeah, that's a good
higher
question.
thread count on the sheets?
Now,
Listen.
this was a good thing about getting into fights back in the day because you had to press charges.
Yeah.
They didn't just
They
arbitrarily
didn't have
press
the
them.
cell phones
And
that
so,
they could record.
and so if you're on the winning end of the fight, all you have
Right.
to say is, you press charges and you're dead. You know what I mean? They never press charges.
Yes.
But I spent the whole night at Beverly Hills jail. And so my friends came and brought my workout clothes the next morning and picked me up to go to Jane Fonda's.
Jane Fonda's.
Now,
Never getting over this name.
I don't know about you. I don't know if you've ever been in jail, but I didn't do a lot.
Never.
Imagine?
I didn't do a lot of sleeping. So, but I changed anyway because I'm a good sport.
Yes.
I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And so I go to Jane Fonda's workout and I say, hell no. But I go, and so I get in the back row because I'm just going to barely lift my arms and I'm going to, and then who walks in?
No.
Jane Fonda.
Oh, God.
Jane Fonda walks in and stands right next to me. And I'm like,
You can't fake it anymore.
Jane Fonda.
Wait.
What are the odds? I mean, it was her
Was she
studio.
the Valley girl, though?
Jane Fonda? Oh, no.
Because that would have been a good full circle.
No,
That'd be
no.
hilarious.
I thought it was
But the point is that I had no energy and I smelled like a bar
Yeah.
and prison.
And you can no longer you can no longer do the half motion.
A bar and bars.
I was not well put together.
And
And I'm sweating like a dog because it's a hard workout.
Yeah.
You know?
And I had to step up my game because Jane Fonda was standing next to me.
Yes.
And so she looks over and she says, rough night?
Oh.
And I said, yeah, I think, or something like that. And then she starts laughing, and I tell her the story while we're working out, and she's rolling. And she says, and you still came? And I was like, well, they were my ride. But anyway, I'm still here, Jane Fonda, because I'm a big fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she says, well, what can I do for you? Like, how much money you got? Because, getting out of jail wasn't cheap, Jane.
Jeez.
No, I'm just kidding. I said, well, you signed my Reeboks because it's the only thing I could think.
Yeah.
And she said, yes, I will. And she got a marker and she signed my pink and white Reeboks.
Yeah.
And I kept those Reeboks until I didn't pay my storage fees one time. And
I'm about to say, where are they? I want to know.
know, man.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you see some Jane Fonda
Pink Reeboks, pink and white.
Yes,
they're pink and white.
Pink and white.
And you know what? It wasn't one of those scribblies. It said
Scribblies.
Jane
You knew who it was.
man.
Fonda.
You know they got some monies for that.
You know what? I wore those. I wore them.
You wore?
You wore them?
I wore them. I wore them everywhere. I would be like, Jane Fonda signed my shoe.
I think I would put them in a box. I would have taken them off, put them in a
Listen,
box.
Jane
and been
Fonda,
done.
if you're out there.
And then if you take them off and put them in a box, what's that good for?
Well, I mean, you display them. Like,
Yeah.
I put a little Scotch guard on them.
Hey, you know what though? I've learned shoes break down even when you don't wear them.
yes, they do.
So I guess if she didn't wear them,
I get it.
You know,
You
they
know
could've
what?
picked something else. to
Every
sign.
autograph I ever had, if I could have just, taken a little thing and pinned it on me, I would have, because what's the good of having a great autograph from a famous person if nobody ever sees it?
Have you seen when they sign the skin, but then people go to the tattoo shop and then have them go?
Oh
over it?
no!
Yeah.
What?
So and they're like,
Say
hey,
what?
sign my arm, you know, and then they'll go to the
mean-
tattoo shop and then they'll have the tattoo artist go over the signature.
No.
I swear.
That's not for
I
me.
mean, that's not for me.
That's
I mean, not for me
That's not
either.
for
But
me.
Do
look at
you?
that.
Do you?
Oh,
That's
that's
not
a
for
good
me.
question for our followers out there.
But
Please put it in the comment section
Right.
if you have, and what is it?
But being a DJ, I met tons and tons of famous people. Yeah, and by the way, famous people are exactly the same as regular people.
Yeah.
For the most part.
They are.
Just with more
just
money?
friends we haven't met yet.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But when I was pregnant with Callie, I decided to do the Wall of Fame.
Yes.
And every artist that I introduced or met backstage, I didn't get an autograph for me. I got an autograph for the Wall of Fame
She
to
did.
Callie. And so by the time she was born, she had a Wall
A
of
whole
Fame.
wall, yeah.
Oh my God.
Mostly country artists, though, huh?
Yeah, well, I was
Yeah.
country DJ at the time, but no, there was also I think I got you No Doubt, Gwen Stefani. I met her backstage, but I have a picture. George Strait. I went backstage, and I was very pregnant with Callie, and he
Do you have a
patted my
tattoo
tummy.
of his signature on your
There
belly?
you go.
Because you get a sign on the belly, and then apparently you get that tattoo.
Yes.
I didn't
You
know
know
Yeah.
what my
that
core
thing.
memory is, though? Meeting Joe Diffie.
The Joe Diffie story. So Callie, so I met some amazing people, and I have amazing stories. When I first became a country DJ, I had been a rock DJ because I'm a rock girl, but country was where the money was at.
Yeah.
I didn't know any country artists except what my dad used to play on the big record player in the
Yeah.
living room. So they said, go introduce Dwight Yoakam at the fair.
Okay.
I said, who? What?
Oh, Dwight
Okay.
Yoakam.
So of course
That's actually someone I
know.
of course my little 20-something self arrived late, and I went to the gate. I was panicking because I was like, oh man, it's my first thing where I got to introduce somebody and I'm late. And there's one guy back there drinking beer. And so I said, man, I'm late. I got to go introduce this dude. I don't even know him and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, calm down, have a beer. You've got time.
Yeah.
So, you got
Okay,
a beer?
yeah.
You got anything to eat?
Yeah. Is it for you?
So, talking to this guy, super nice guy,
Never
drinking
met
a
a
beer.
stranger. Mhm.
And then I'm like, man, I don't know about this country gig. I was a rock jock, and I just do not know because country may not be for me. They all suck and blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
Some music, though.
so he's like, well, I thought he was a stagehand guy. So he's like, well, I got to go, here's the way of the stage, blah, blah. Next thing you know, who walks out? That guy who was Dwight Yoakam.
Oh my gosh.
And he says, little lady, here's a picture. Maybe you'll know who I am next time.
Oh, stop it.
And I said, probably not. But
But
you know
yeah.
what?
Oh, you won't forget him now.
But anyway, so I have tons of great stories. Being a DJ was the most amazing thing in the world. But Callie was, and still is, she's a beauty. I mean, she is a head turner.
Stop it.
And when she was a little girl, she had the blondest blonde curly hair and just rosy cheeks and her big
you
blue
didn't have
eyes.
to dye it.
And she was just, she was a dolly, And I had to go introduce Joe Diffie. Now, does anybody know who Joe Diffie except Callie?
No.
Let me think if I can remember a Joe Diffie song. I would sing it. Hold on a second.
You don't have to.
Shut up, Israel.
Listen. Don't play it though because we can't.
I'm not gonna play it. I was just gonna do a title.
Yes.
Of a Joe Diffie song because he it was something.
Joe Diffie song?
Seems like it was a tractor song or something, but I
don't listen to
digress.
him anymore,
Okay, hold on a second. Joe Diffie songs. Joe
We
Diffie
now have
songs.
a commercial break.
John Deere Green.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay.
John Deere Green, Pickup Man. You know, prop me up beside the jukebox. Anyway,
Okay.
So Joe Diffie was a super nice guy, and he was big. And so I took Callie backstage, and she had she had her clickies and twirlies. Now, clickies and twirlies twirly was a dress,
Yes.
and clickies were the little shoes
Shoes
that
that
made
click.
noise.
Yep.
So when she got all fancied up and dolled up, she wore clickies and twirlies.
Yes.
And so we went backstage to meet Joe Diffie, and she had her little clickies and twirlies. And Joe Diffie fell head over heels in love with her.
Yes.
She was 5, I think, 4 or 5.
I remember he picked me up.
He picked her up.
He didn't give me a rose too.
He gave her a rose,
Oh,
and
it's literally a core memory. I
yeah.
can remember this.
yes, and he picked her up, and he just made a big deal over her, and then every time he came back to town, he got in touch with me, and we went. I took Callie to go see him.
I remember you went out on stage to introduce him, and I was out there, and I could just see this big, huge crowd of people. I was like, "This is."
Yeah, she came. He had brought her out on stage. He made a huge deal out of Callie Hoffman. But the funniest part of the story is when I went to go introduce Aaron Tippin at the Fresno Fair, and I took Callie with me.
I don't remember this story.
Aaron Tippin was huge. You know, if you got to stand for something. What was his song? Let's ask. You would think I would know because I was a country DJ for how long? Aaron Tippin songs.
If you know any Aaron Tippin songs, put them in the comments below.
Right?
You know any
So
Aaron Tippin
Aaron Tippin songs, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Ooh,
Right?
stop it.
Yeah. So I took Callie and we go, we're in the side of the side wings and he's out on stage and he says, oh, who is that beautiful little girl? And I if he hadn't said Lil, I would have thought he was talking about me. But
Of course. Of course.
so Callie goes clicking and twirling out onto the stage, and I'm kind of loitering, you know. And he says down on the mic, and he says, "Oh, are you just the most adorable little thing?" And blah blah. And he says, "Tell me, is Aaron Tippin your favorite singer?"
Oh, please.
And she says, "No, Joe Diffie is."
Listen, I mean,
and he literally
bold then,
drops
bold
the
then.
mic drop before it was even popular, and falls out dead on the stage. And Callie's looking at him like,
what happened?
I don't get it.
You destroyed his confidence in the moment.
like you don't like Joe Diffie. You haven't heard John Deere Green, anyway, but it was hilarious. And that
He
clip,
gave me a rose.
That's all.
that clip.
You're a 5.
That clip played
Better give me more than
on
one
YouTube.
rose.
Well, whatever. I guess it was YouTube back in the day. But that clip played many, many times of Joe Diffie dying on stage from the little girl
Tippin,
who liked Joe. Aaron Tippin.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I didn't get as much play as my. So back in the Paola scam days, I was a morning show DJ. Oh, Paola.
Help us out.
So there's a big scandal. Back in the day in radio, program directors would get cash or cocaine or both to play an artist's record.
Okay.
Wow.
They would get under the table. They would get paid by the label.
I wonder if that still happens.
I think I've seen Dreamgirls, the movie.
Yeah.
They did that. That's
And
the whole
so
it's like $200,000 to put your record out on the radio.
Yeah.
But it was
a house.
completely against the law. There's laws governing that, and you can't just place. You can't be bought off to play an artist record.
Interesting, because people do.
And
that.
so I was doing mornings with a guy who was will remain anonymous, but waist deep in the Paola scandal. Now I was so new to radio. I was 22 and I was doing mornings. I was new to mornings. I had no idea what I was doing. And we were coming out of a restaurant because we had a live broadcast. Now I was dressed in my, for whatever reason, flash dance ensemble, and I had a ponytail, big blonde ponytail.
Okay.
And all of these news cameras come up, and I'm looking, and they say, "What do you think about your morning show partner being indicted in the Paola scandal?" And I say, "Paola? what's payola?
Oh, no.
With my ponytail.
Yeah.
That clip.
It played.
Whoa,
That
dang.
What's
played.
payola?
And were you blonde back then too?
Oh yeah, well I was a natural
Can we
blonde.
find this on YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it.
Don't
I'm gonna
look
find
for
it.
it.
That's
Do not-
that's happening. I'm gonna
We're
find
gonna
it.
look
I'm
this
gonna
up.
find the clip. Yes. Yes. Javi's on it. We're finding the clip.
You know what?
If we can insert it into this show.
Anytime that thing came up on the news, I was there with my blonde ponytail. What's payola? Oh God, I was just.
That's wonderful.
I'll forget it now.
Anyway, it was a big deal. There are so many morning show. You know, my
Before
my
meme
morning
was a
show.
meme.
Huh?
Before meme was a meme.
That's right.
You know what? Yeah. Anyway, so it was a big deal. It was my first hard lesson in radio. There are many more to come, but listen, being in radio was a great gig.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
If anybody ever says, "Hey,"
I think it was a match made in heaven for you because
I'm just
you're a people
saying.
person for sure.
well,
Yeah.
if
And never met
anybody
a
walks up to you
stranger?
and goes,
Yeah.
"Hey, excuse me, chick," because back in the day, if it was a chick,
Uh-huh.
chick, I'll pay you to talk.
Chicken a dude.
Sure.
What's payola? Then you take it. You take the gig.
Exactly.
Every day I would wake up and I would go, today is the day they realize they're paying me to talk and it's all going to be over. And it never was. It only got bigger.
Mhm.
And I mean, they called me up for the big show in LA and San Francisco. And, you know, I never went because I had chilling. But, you know, I was raising my 2 kids. And so I had to stay close to home. But, yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
But you know what? All I'm saying is, if we're going to do this show, if I ever do anything that dumb, you edit it right out. Dust in the wind.
You might be a
Okay.
meme at the end of this.
Javier,
And
you
I'm-
take it out.
No, I'm going to speak to the audience here because I promise we may edit it out, but I will give you the clip later.
Do it.
Because
And then I promise
We
you
need
this.
that.
If he ever talks like a girl, I will find that and I will put it up. I
With a
will put
snooty,
that on
with
every
an
social
accent.
media.
Yeah, we could do that.
You
No, I'm
To
not.
a net.
No, see, again, we'll tell you guys some stories.
But I'm just saying. Well,
I think that this whole show has been dedicated to my humiliation. So somebody needs
you
to
and me
do.
both.
You need to talk like a girl.
No,
Do
I'm
it.
not. I mean,
Can you just sing
Something.
some Beyonce
Woo!
or
Yes.
Mariah?
no.
Sing some Mariah.
Again, why am I being pressured here?
Because
What? No. I don't look, people. I don't do accents. Like
You don't have to do an accent.
No,
what
he
are you
won't
talking
do
about?
it.
Mariah
Listen.
Carey does not have an
She
accent.
Oh my
doesn't.
God.
Mariah Carey is wonderful. Those are my
Do a little
those are my
Mariah.
karaoke songs. But no,
Do.
on.
no,
Do it.
I'm not doing
Listen.
it.
Oh
I'm
my
not doing it.
gosh.
People,
You know what? You're
not
off the
gonna
show.
convince me. I'm off the show.
Yeah.
That
If you
was quick.
cannot be bold enough to do a little Mariah Carey in a female voice, I think you're off the show.
What?
Man.
If she makes a U-turn, perfect. That's
Oh!
right. I like you, Javi. If she makes a U-turn,
Shut up, Potty.
Oh
I'm
my
not even
gosh.
bringing him a donut next week. You won't even get a bagel.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm really have to
Come
ask.
on, come on.
No, I'm not doing it. But I really need to know like why.
He's such a heartbreaker.
I'm not a heartbreaker.
Okay, wait.
Stop.
First of all,
First of all,
and B,
and B.
get it down?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Callie, what?
What's
The nut doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh God. Oh, there you go. You know what? You guys looking more and more alike with time.
What? Okay. A, this has been a fun show, but B, I'm disappointed in you, Israel.
Oh,
But C,
it's okay.
see, we haven't even got to a C
That's
before
right.
now.
That's right.
I'm gonna have to make something up. C. Oh. Okay. Let's talk about. Did you guys have any? Did you meet any strangers? Did you do what we talk about? Did you talk to somebody that? Now, Callie
You
took me
know-
to see Gladys Knight.
What? Okay.
Callie took me to see Gladys Knight. You know,
Yes.
ooh, L.A.
Yeah.
grew too much for the
Oh, she was
man.
such a good time too.
Yeah.
As old
that's-
as she is, she's
Yeah.
That's Midnight Train to Georgia. So she took me to see Gladys Knight, and I walk through the door and have nothing but people walk up to me
Yeah.
who I have no idea who
Yeah.
they. Oh, you look beautiful, or people in line. I met
She's
a
not
former
lying.
DJ.
Like,
I know.
Anyway,
I'm like-
I know.
so
I'm just standing back admiring.
I meet strangers all the time. You go.
Oh, just strangers we meet throughout the day, all the time. I guess for fun.
No, I'm just saying. I met a ton of strangers at last night.
So,
you know that.
Listen to this. I always, because of my job, I always meet strangers and I always talk to them. And sometimes, and I don't know why. I guess I'm a friendly face. I like to believe so. At least if I'm not, don't tell me in the comments. But you know, it's really, really interesting how many times people just open up about randomness, like what seems random. But I'm there, I'm talking to you, I seem friendly. Next, you know, we're talking. I'm supposed to be helping you with your, you know, your schooling, whatever the case is. And next, you know, we're talking about your mom and dad who live in Idaho and the property that they have there and how much you love going out there and what joy that brings you. I'm like, I don't even know how we got here.
You know,
I have no idea how we got here. Right?
And how about the parts where it's completely personal and deep and unexpected that they share with you?
Yes.
Right.
And it's also one of those things where it's like, on the one hand, it doesn't make sense, but on the other hand, it does. In that I'm a stranger. I don't know your story at all.
Yeah.
And as far as you're concerned, I may forget you as soon as you leave out. So it kind of creates this safe space where I could tell this to you, and I don't have to worry about the fallout from telling it and sharing it.
Right.
But at the same time, I figure if you're telling me that we're having that conversation and you're sharing something that's truly personal to you, the least I could do is actually open up my ears to listen and give you the time of day, right? It's not hard.
And so this is where we go back and we wrap it up like a Seinfeld episode. Now, for those people who do not know Seinfeld episodes, no matter how obscure it is to get from point A to point B and everything that happens in between, somehow
it
always comes back full circle, and I super dig that. But I shouldn't even have said that because then I lost my train of thought. The point is that there's no such thing as strangers. No. You know, they just don't exist. They're just friends we haven't met yet, right?
Yes.
But even the smallest thing, someone being able to tell you something about themselves, and then it's freeing and liberating. Yeah. And it is, you know what I'm saying? It's even if it's that one small thing, it's an act of kindness because people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
You know, they want to be heard. Kelly has always been, people just gravitate toward her. And
where I get it from.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
no, but in all seriousness, even when we were in college, I would tell my mom and my parents, I said, Kelly really is just one of the most genuine people I have ever met in my entire life. You meet her and you're like, oh yeah, no, like, she's authentic.
Always talk about me like that.
You're authentic.
You know, she has a different. I mean, she's like me, but so unlike me too. She has a very soft. You know, I'm a boom in your face kind of person, but in a nice way. I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
You know, but she's a gentle kind of. You know. You know, when we were at the show, I walked in. She's a little gift shop. And Callie was with me, and you know, the girl behind the counter. Now, see, this is the other thing. If you pay people compliments, they will. I don't know.
That's our next challenge.
Yeah, you know, that's a good idea.
I like
that's
that.
a good idea. Yeah. All I said was, man, that she's wearing a uniform, but I'm like, that purple is the color for you.
And it did look good.
And she did look good, right? You know, even if she hadn't, though, you know what I mean. Just giving somebody a compliment is
change their whole day.
You know. And Callie is beside me, and Callie chimes in with a softer, you know, makes your eyes look so, you know what I mean? But then we went back to see her at the end after the concert because she was lovely. She was a lovely person. Awesome. And then we found it, Callie looks her up and we find out she's a model.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and she was just working, you know, that was her side hustle until she makes it.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
But the point is that even though she's my daughter and we're a lot alike. We're not. But you're my son, and we're a lot alike.
Oh
just
yeah,
saying.
Of course.
You know. Listen.
You have a different approach. So I am in your face, kind of. Callie's a little softer. Israel talks to people in his female voice, and then
this is not going to be a thing.
Oh my
this is not going to be a thing. Okay, I don't have a female voice. I just walk around saying, "Hey, sugar, how you doing?" No, I don't do that.
Anyway, do you do karaoke?
I try not to.
Oh.
You sure do.
I actively try not
walk
to.
around the house.
You have a good voice.
No, I appreciate that, but I actively try to not sing in public.
Listen.
Okay, throw out the challenge and end this show.
So the challenge is to give someone a compliment. But if you're looking to meet some really kind strangers, I do recommend. Actually, we should all go up there. But
I love Bass Lake.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's
Nurture
go.
Coffee and Eats. They have a great vanilla latte and avocado
Yes.
toast.
But they're the nicest people.
I like avocado toast.
No,
too.
and they're located in
not had
Bass
it.
Lake, California.
You've not had avocado
If you
toast?
want to find them,
Avocado toast.
we will put.
Yes, we'll
it's
put them
in the
avocado
description.
on toast.
I get all that, but I
I mean, it's a little more to it.
I
You know,
haven't had
have
it.
cherry tomatoes and little vinaigrette.
Probably some-
It sounds gross.
No,
but it's
no,
good.
it really it doesn't sound gross. I've seen it.
I mean, if
several
you eat
times. It's just-
guacamole,
I just recently started eating guacamole like the last year and
I
change.
know. My guy doesn't
You don't
eat
drink
ranch.
coffee and you just started eating guacamole?
You know what?
How is he related
I'm feeling
to me?
attacked right
I
now.
think on that note, we should end and get out of here.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel attacked, Israel.
That's okay. I love you guys
Because
too.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
Okay.
with
So
that being said, don't be a stranger.
don't be a stranger.
See you next week.
It's a brand new day.